President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are tentatively set to hold a summit at the end of next week to discuss a ceasefire in Ukraine.
As Fox's Rebecca Castor tells us, they still need to hash out all of the details before they meet face to face.
35 years they fought, and now they're friends.
You might not be able to pinpoint Armenia or Azerbaijan on a map, but their historic peace pledge signed Friday at the White House could set the stage for another major peace deal next week.
Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Ukraine were all part of the Soviet Union. This is all technically Putin's sphere of influence that he claims. But here we have President Trump bringing an end to this long conflict.
When those guns start going off, it's awfully tough to get them to stop. It really does. It's a war that should have never happened.
A Trump-Putin summit is tentatively scheduled for the end of next week. President Trump's one condition for the sit-down: Putin must be serious about peace negotiations.
He wants a ceasefire and the beginning of negotiations for war termination. Whether that's actually going to take place remains to be seen. It could be a partial ceasefire.
New reporting from Bloomberg says the U.S. and Russia are currently working on an agreement allowing Putin to hold on to the Ukrainian territory that Russia took over during the fighting. That could back Ukraine's president into a corner, especially if he's left out of the talks.
It is right for Ukraine to be a participant in the negotiations. Russia's war is against Ukraine, against our independence.
The White House is not commenting on any leaked details of a Ukraine peace deal out of respect for the sensitive diplomatic discussions. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
The Israeli cabinet said today that it will not approve of a total takeover of Gaza, defying Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Officials are authorizing an occupation of Gaza City, escalating the 22-month-long war with Hamas. A takeover of Gaza City is expected to require a major ground operation by Israeli forces, and it's raising fears both for Palestinian civilians and Israeli hostages still being held in Gaza. Israel already controls about 3/4 of the Gaza Strip. Some observers say the plan may be aimed at pressuring Hamas to accept a ceasefire. For more, let's bring in Professor Stephen Zunes, Professor of Politics and International Studies at the University of San Francisco. Hopefully we have Professor Zunes on the line with us.
Yes, hello.
Oh, hi. Good to see you, Professor. I didn't see you at first, so I was hoping you were there. Good to have you on, as always here. Let's talk about this decision by the Israeli cabinet here not to approve a full takeover of Gaza. How do you read this? Why do you think they responded in this way to the request from the Prime Minister for a full takeover?
This is an unusual rebuke of Netanyahu, who has largely gotten his way on such things. But I think they heard a lot from the leadership of the Israeli armed forces, because Gaza is a city of close to 1 million people. It's the largest city in the territory, and it would have likely meant some bloody house-to-house fighting. Of course, it also would have raised the incredible dangers of the inhabitants. And indeed this would be a kind of ethnic cleansing. Netanyahu was very clear that he didn't just want Israeli troops in the city. They wanted to remove the entire population, which of course brings obvious humanitarian questions. But I think the cabinet was actually more concerned about what this would mean in terms of the fate of the remaining hostages and what Israeli troops would have to deal with in a bloody urban counterinsurgency campaign.
Yeah, what does this signal about Prime Minister Netanyahu's support within Israel for this ongoing campaign in Gaza?
Well, it's been declining quite a bit, because all the hostages would be home now if he had not broken the ceasefire agreement that was back in March, which had been enforced for a couple of months. And then also the concerns of the families of the people in the military, and this is a citizen army. These are mostly reservists who are taking part in this, and also international pressure is growing. Even from Western European countries that have traditionally been quite supportive of Israel over the years, and I think there's concern about Israel's growing international isolation as the atrocities, the starvation, and everything increase.
Let me ask you, Professor, about some of the other news we're hearing today coming out of Washington, D.C. And President Trump just said late today that he is tentatively planning to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin 1 week from today. It sounds like the meeting will happen in Alaska. What do you think could come from a face-to-face meeting like this? And what are the chances that this could be a breakthrough in the president's efforts to end this conflict?
Well, they could come to an agreement, but the fact that they're not including Ukraine, which of course is the real issue here, is rather troubling. If they bypass Zelensky and don't allow him to take part in the process and come out, hey, we have this agreement, that's obviously not going to end the war. The Ukrainians are not just going to give in. There's also concern that as President Trump has hinted, that he would approve allowing Russia to annex large swaths of Ukrainian territory that it illegally invaded. As President Biden, quite a few other people pointed out that it's illegal for any country to expand its territory by force. Now, of course, the United States has been okay with that when allies have done it, like Morocco and Israel. But for this to happen in Europe, I think would be quite disturbing to a number of some of our closest allies. And again, I think that it would be totally unacceptable for the Ukrainians, and I don't think it would mean an end to the war.
All right, we'll wait for that meeting that's happening again 1 week from today. Finally, Professor, I want to ask you about something else that happened at the White House today, and that was that the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan were at the White House to sign this joint declaration, what was essentially a commitment to work toward a peace deal to end the decades of conflict between those two countries. How significant do you think this agreement is?
If it holds, I think it would be quite significant because they've been at war on and off since 1989, even before the formal breakup of the Soviet Union. And there is indeed ethnic cleansing on both sides during the course of that conflict. There are some questions, including this corridor, which Trump is naming after himself, and that it will give the United States some exclusive economic prerogatives, and that's raising a few eyebrows exactly what that means. But if indeed it does mean that there's finally an end to this long-standing conflict, that would certainly be a positive development.
Yeah, and certainly the president touting this as an important breakthrough. We have to leave the conversation there. Thank you for covering all that ground with us. Professor Stephen Zunes from the University of San Francisco. Great to have you on. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with much more news here on The 4.